The room was a study in contrasts. Harsh fluorescent lights beat down on the steel table, reflecting off the mirrored wall. Detective Claire Brooks, her face etched with fatigue, sat across from Matthew Keller. Keller, a gaunt figure swallowed by the chair, fidgeted nervously. His eyes, red-rimmed and darting, refused to meet Claire's. They held secrets, she could tell, secrets he was desperate to keep buried.
Isa.
Mr. Keller, Claire began, her voice firm yet weary. We've been through this. Where is your wife, Sarah? Keller's gaze remained fixed on his trembling hands. The silence stretched, thick with unspoken words and raw emotion. It was a silence that screamed louder than any confession. Every tick of the clock seemed to amplify the tension in the room. Claire watched Keller closely. His face, a mask of anguish and fear, was starting to crumble. His shoulders slumped under an invisible weight, the weight of his lies.
Isa.
Matthew, Claire's voice softened slightly. We know something happened that night. We know you were arguing. Just tell us where she is. She placed a photograph of Sarah on the table. A smiling, vibrant woman, a stark contrast to the grim reality that now hung in the air. Keller's gaze finally snapped up to the photo. His eyes welled with tears. His lips trembled as he whispered, "It was an accident." The words hung in the air, heavy with guilt and remorse. Claire leaned forward, her gaze unwavering.
Isa.
An accident, Matthew? Tell me what happened. And so he did. He spoke of a heated argument fueled by jealousy and resentment, of a push, a fall, a sickening thud, of panic, of fear, of a desperate attempt to cover up the unthinkable. He confessed to burying Sarah's body in the woods near their favorite hiking trail. Each word was a nail hammered into the coffin of his carefully constructed facade. Claire listened intently, her mind racing. The story was plausible, his grief seemingly genuine, yet something felt off. There was a tremor in his voice when he spoke of the location, a fleeting look of cunning in his eyes. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it was there.
Yes, he croaked. That's where she is.
Are you sure this is where it happened, Matthew? Claire pressed, her voice betraying nothing of her growing suspicion. Keller nodded, his face pale and drawn. Claire left the interrogation room, Matthew's confession echoing in her ears. She had what she needed, a location, a confession, and yet she couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. His story, though convincing, lacked a certain finality. As she assembled a search team to scour the woods, a single thought reverberated in her mind. This isn't over. Matthew Keller might have confessed, but Claire knew with chilling certainty that the truth ran far deeper than he was letting on. This was not an ending, but rather the beginning of a much darker mystery.